Yo, welcome back to a new video. My name is XD. Glad to have you here. So I'm not a huge fan or big on horror movies. I do keep up with some of them here and there, but I will never say that I'm like a big horror movie junkie. And you might be asking yourself, why is this man talking about horror movies when we're here for house music and music? But movies and music, they have a connection. If you didn't know, the music industry and the movie industry, we have so much of a connection. So one thing I wanted to point out about horror movies, why I brought them up, is the fact that there's a recurring thing in the technique that they use in horror movies, especially when they're about to like really give you a big impact of a scare. And that same thing, that same technique, we can also use it in the music that we make to create a big impact. And I'm sure if you're clever enough, you've picked up on the kind of technique I'm talking about. Like there's points when you're watching a horror movie where everything just goes silent. And if you know that when it goes dead silent like that, you know that there's just going to be something that's going to happen at some point, and you don't know when exactly that's going to hit, because obviously the music there doesn't have like a time signature. So you have no idea when the impact is going to hit and whether you're going to be scared or they were just duping you into that certain situation. So we can apply the same technique to our music to create an impact, because in horror movies it really does work, because everything goes quiet and then you have a loud bang or a loud noise that will just scare you and freak you out, because they give you imagery that just hits you with an impact, and then they give you sound that hits you with an impact, creating an emotional response. So that same technique can be used in music, in our songs, if you really want to create impacts. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I have a beat that I have here that I want to create that same impact. So the beat sounds like this. So now it got into a break. You heard what had happened here. You can tell that this part here has a lot of instruments playing, and then there's a second part here, which is a break part where everything just simmers down. So usually what we do is that we have this part, and then everything just cools down and calms down, but there's still a few instruments playing and things like that, and then it jumps back into the beat playing again to create an impact. And sometimes we add some uplifters to indicate that there's going to be a big impact coming in. But now we're using that same technique of horror movies that I told you about, that we're going to employ. So what we can do now is we can create a bit of a silence before anything happens. So what I can do now is I can copy this section here. This section here I can just copy. So I'm going to press Option and then just click and drag, and I'm going to put it here. So let me just make sure that I can loop this section here. So now if I play from this section here, you're going to hear what's going to happen. So that sounds really good, but it's not dramatic. It's not giving that thing, man. So what you want to do now in this place here, you just select everything. Like I select everything that I added here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move this over like this. Maybe 1 bar or 2 bars, it's just up to you. And then I'm going to play it again. Do you see what that silence did? Like that silence just created some tension, and when the beat came in, it's like the ears had relaxed and they had calmed down, and then the music comes back with impact again, and then the energy comes back in again. So now it's just up to you, depending with the kind of song you have, how long you want to make this break be or this silence be. So you can even make it like just 1 bar like this. Like I can bring it back. So let's hear how this version sounds. So this version is nice if you're not going to add some uplifting sounds or things like that, or if you really want to drag the track like that and just make sure that you want to give it more time, you can still do it. And another thing that you want to make sure to do is to make sure that any sounds that you have that are gonna stop playing, they have a little bit of a tail of delay or some reverb. Like you can hear right here at the end, if I play it back, you can hear that there's a little bit of a delay that's happening, like a decay of sounds. like you heard that there was a delay that kept on playing, and then there was some reverb that also kept on playing just like that. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I also wanted to show you is what you can do, especially if you have maybe 2 bars. If you have 2 bars of this, you can also just add maybe some uplift effects. So you can look for an uplifter effect or a riser effect. They will really work for this part because you want the energy to go up instead of go down. So you don't want to look for a down lifter or anything that's gonna take the energy from up to down. You want to take the energy from down to go up. So that's why you need an uplifter and not even a sweeper. So you want a riser or an uplifter. I can pick this one here like this, and I can just trim it like that. Now let's take a listen to this right now. Something like that, that works. So it's up to you what kind of a riser you want to add depending with what goes with your track. You can add a riser like that, and then you can make it sound cool. Or even if you don't want to add a riser, you can still just let it play without a riser. But when it comes to leaving 2 bars like this, I recommend maybe putting a riser, or you can even put in a fill, like a fill of some drums, like a drum fill or something like that. You can throw that in there, or even a swell. A swell can also work for these kinds of things. But I feel like just making it go silent like this is even better than all the other styles I showed you. So you can just make it 1 bar and then just make it go quiet. So this really helps you get some really good impact. Let me know if you've tried this before or if you use it in any of your tracks. For me, I use this technique not in every track that I make, but in some tracks, and then in some tracks I have my other methods that I use also to create these kinds of impacts. But if you have any questions, drop them down below. If you've learned something out of this video, make sure to drop this video a like and also subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it if you join the channel. We are on a road to 100K. We're gonna get there soon. I want you to be a part of it. Thank you so much for watching. If you need any of the things that I use to make my music, any of the samples and presets and everything like that, make sure to check out my drum kits and everything in the links down below. I'm X and I'm out. Peace.